Neel, you mentioned about this galaxy being a model which merges and expands at the same time. The design is such. Um, and we all agree. I'm yet to meet an Aurovillian who says, I don't like this model. No, I think you will all agree with this. Yet, after 55 years, we are here still talking about when do we start, a crown or a little element. I remember you recently, being part of ATDC, you recreated the model, which Roger also did many decades ago. While you were recreating it, you might have you couldn't have avoided thinking that, oh, this is the only one that is there. Perhaps this is there, but most of it is all still in the planning. It's in the visualized phase right now. What do you think? What kept us away from the galaxy plan? If everyone agrees to it, what's the challenge according to you? Why we haven't managed to do?
These are all my very personal thoughts,
yes, yeah,
and
please,
it goes down to
yeah.
architecture college second year, when we learn how to draw, and we see ourselves and we are excited by this whole process that we are able to draw.
Yeah.
And we start feeling that we have become architects. And then we say the next thing that you do is when you draw and you see your neighbor drawing the same way, you say, no, I then have to do something different. It's something that all of us have, born with almost. We have to be original, we have to be new, we have to be unique.
Needs to have our signature.
So, switching over to art, my sister is a ceramic artist, and she had a chance to, go to Japan and also go to States and to Europe. And something that she brought back was that artists in the Western world, they think this is the only life and I have to create as much as I can, as many new forms, as many new things. And they just keep on. They work very hard and they do classic art, but they do too many things. And then you see a Japanese potter who keeps building sake cups for his whole lifetime. And then when he's ordained as a master craftsman, he tries to tweak it just a bit. So how many new ragas, Hindustani classical ragas, have you seen written in the last century? There are a few, but they come very far and few in between. So there is a mulling over and there is a churning of the same thing over and over and over again. So what I started to feel was that the galaxy was there, but we were architects who were groomed by this kind of schooling, where, then I have to make something original. Right. So then I just, after I started, spending some time here, more time here at ATDC, half a day, every day, I started looking at all those drawings. Earlier it was only a feeling that the galaxy model can be built as is. It was only a feeling, and I had never done enough work to really say that. I can only say for myself that I feel that it is realizable as is. And that those are not just vague guidelines. They are guidelines which have lots of layers sorted out. And we just need to swallow our egos and say, I'm a willing servitor. I can be a good pencil in her hands, and like she worked with Roger, she will work through all of us and create this beautiful magic of a place when it thrives with 50,000 people, who will have all these various spaces and all these various opportunities created by spaces of various kinds. So the galaxy has everything in it. It has the whole universe in it. So you can find, as a poet, as an artist, as a father, as a brother, as a friend, as somebody who wants to do theater, want to create a new kind of music, everything is possible because it will just allow you that freedom. and will find you that niche where you can go and do that. Today's cities, unfortunately, you can't do that. There are not many places where, for a population of even, let's say, 5,000 people, a hall like this exists. It's an opportunity. It's a possibility that has been created through a certain dynamic form, which allows an exchange like this to happen. Now just imagine how many more layers are there which exists. Right. So this is something which we cannot fathom and we should not question, is my last submission. Yeah.
There's, I mean, when you spoke about this innate nature of architects to find their little signature, and thus there has been, I mean, nobody would spell it out openly, but that seems like one of the impediment, perhaps not the only one. But I have seen your work. I live in one of your creation, Kalpana. When you look at it, I mean, even though you follow the grammar, I feel there is immense opportunity of creativity within that form. For example, if I take the metaphor of a language, even though there is a grammar for any language, and yet a poet can churn out creative expressions. You need not create a language to write poetry. So in that sense, do you think it's constraining? I mean, is it not a great invitation, perhaps, like you said, for a population of 1,800 adults, we have, I think, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, 100 architects or so. Perhaps the ratio is so high. So there is an opportunity, that's what attracts the architects. And why not come and add to the beauty rather than become a constraint?
So I have this submission that nothing in Supriti and my or Ovoid's portfolio before Kalpana is like Kalpana, or tells us, or there are pointers that we can create a Kalpana. And nothing post that also right now, till 4-5 years now past, shows that we could have done Kalpana. So there are more factors and more forces involved in the creation of Kalpana. It is not a creation only of some architects. If Satyakam and Devasmita were not project holders, let's say Tuan was or you were for that matter, it would be a different Kalpana. And that's where, and I would say there has been a shift also in the architectural thinking with the coming of IMP, who very nicely puts this in as an interview, where he was one of the youngest architects there, invited by Jacqueline Kennedy after Kennedy's passing away. And it was for the memorial. And stalwarts like Louis Kahn and other people were all there. And all these architects who were there for the party. It was in a party where you were walking through the site and talking to Jacqueline Kennedy, the client. All of them went up to Jacqueline and told her, this is what we should be doing. This is what we should be doing. Each one had a very concrete and a very real idea about how they would like to celebrate Kennedy's life and how affected they were by whatever he had done and in his passing. IMP says, I was perhaps the only Oriental around. And I went up to her and said, Madam, what would you like? And he got the commission. Then I came across, I'll cut it short. There's in Indian classical music, there is something called swar. And all ragas are written with a certain set of swars. So there is a framework of a rag, and there is that swar, but the swar is not fixed in location. And if we see Western classical music, and if Mozart has written a set of notes, either you play that, and you can play that to perfection, and it's beautiful music. But if you want to be original, you have to write your own notes. You can't be original playing Mozart. But you can be original playing Hansadhwani, Drupad, whatever, whichever raga you pick up, and you can just... So somewhere, my belief is that the galaxy is a raga, and it will allow each person involved, each one of us, that joy of being very original. But if we follow that framework, we line up with that eternal music. We don't just create music which is Neel's or
Fair enough.
Lakshya's or Twan's or anybody else's.
Yeah.
So that one rendition will also connect with other renditions and create a vibration
Right.
which will then, have the chance of floating through that galaxy, or enabling that galaxy.
Yeah.
But when we do things which are mine, I've done it, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And I don't want to, keep hopping on Kalpana. There are
Yeah.
many layers.
Yeah.
When the urban designers came in, we were designing something else. They brought in a layer. When we were told that there is a swale that has to be put in, we put that in. There's multiple work which went in,
Yeah.
which created that, and there are many people who participated in it. Right?
Okay.